What's going on, everybody? Frank from 5 AM Ramen, and I am in the Big Apple. I'm in New York, and I'm going to be showcasing what might be New York's most talked about ramen restaurant. They've only been open for a few months, but they've made a huge splash in a relatively short period of time. And they're doing some interesting ramen as well. The concept is breakfast/brunch ramen, and let's say on top of that, also Japanese ramen with an American or a Southern twist. This twist very much reflects the owner, Rasheeda, her background, and I think is, from what I've seen, not only fun, but also, of course, delicious. We've got bacon, egg, and cheese ramen, steak and eggs ramen. Certainly not your typical ramen you'll be finding in Japan. Super excited to try this place. The name of the restaurant is Ramen By Ra. Let's see what they're all about. That was a lot of fun. Ramen By Ra was a wonderful experience. I was so happy to have been able to talk to Rasheeda. She has set up a very intimate, let's say, ramen experience because there's only 4 seats and it's reservation only. So if you want to book this place, do so online. And basically for that reservation, you've got a 1-hour slot. It's almost like a ramen bar and she's the bartender. So it's just something that even in Tokyo, you wouldn't have. I think Tokyo, there being a pressure to finish your ramen and leave because of the, let's say, fast turnover. You don't have that here. This is more like a restaurant in that you have a bit more time with that reservation to enjoy the ramen, of course, and also talk to Rasheeda. She's got a fantastic setup, a little cozy corner in the Bowery area of Manhattan. Now the ramen itself, so the one I focused on was the bacon, soy, egg, and cheese ramen. So we've got wonderful grilled bacon in the ramen as toppings, very breakfasty. There's a soy sauce marinated egg, which was delicious, and then some Parmesan cheese as well. Now the soups that she prepares are all chicken based. So you had these delicious warm chicken flavors in the soup with changes coming from the aroma oils in each of the bowls that she does. So in this bowl, the bacon, soy, egg, and cheese ramen, the aroma oil was more, let's say, pork lard, and it gave the soup a meatiness, a richness, also gave it a more full-bodied feel. And even though it was, let's say, lardier or a little bit heavier, meatier than the other 2 bowls, which I'll talk about in a second, it didn't feel ridiculously heavy. Still manageable for breakfast. And I visited at lunch, mind you, but I still had breakfast in my head. She is open for breakfast, and it was a relatively early time of the day, well, at least for me. It was jet lagged right now. I don't know if you can tell from my face right now. But in summary, bacon, soy, egg, and cheese ramen was wonderful. And if we basically pivot to ramen bowl number 2 and ramen bowl number 3, bowl number 2 was a steak and egg ramen. Now the steak and soy egg ramen was basically the same beautiful soy sauce marinated soft-boiled egg, and it had steak instead of the bacon. The steak was fantastic, great cuts of beef, and what was different with this one with the aroma oil was that they used chimichurri, which is, I believe, Argentinian in origin. It has pesto, garlic, and I think vinegar is often used in this one, and that's what gave this one more of a bright, acidic flavor. So a little bit brighter, let's say, than the bacon, cheese, egg ramen. And as such, maybe something that would be more refreshing for breakfast. That one was delicious. I really liked the acidity coming out in that one. Again, how bright it was. That was the biggest difference. And also the fact that you get steak on top instead of bacon. So I think depending on the time of day and what you feel like, whether it's bacon or steak, and also whether you want a brighter or lardier bowl, could be what determines your decision, basically, between those 2. Last but not least, we had the Gravlax ramen. This one had a strong dill flavor. And, you know, I'm looking at it, it's like ramen, but that dill just changed the game. Dill is, of course, something you never see in Japanese cuisine. It's not something you'll see in ramen. So it was confusing in a wonderful way. Looking at it, it's like, oh, this is ramen, but it certainly doesn't taste like your typical ramen bowl. The dill really steered the bowl, and the salmon slices there were just also wonderful. It was like, oh, is this basically a Scandinavian style breakfast in a way? Actually, for breakfast this morning, I had eggs Benedict with salmon. So going from that to this ramen with the salmon in it, and also also the cream cheese foam, very modern twist. It really made me come back to breakfast. It also had capers inside and pickled onions. So this one felt the most unlike ramen in a way. Of course, the other two, they're basically reinterpreting the ramen playbook, but I think this one was the most non-ramen-like. And it might have been my favorite. I believe it's Rasheeda's favorite as well. And all three are wonderful. I think it depends on what you feel like eating and of course what time of day it is. And if you have a chance, get all three. I'm excited. From the sound of things, she does limited time bowls. I think she did a chicken and waffles ramen in the past and brings it back every so often, for example. I think she was going to do a ramen with grits as the centerpiece. So she's doing a lot of fun things while I think, again, keeping it very much about still being ramen. And I know I talked about some of these bowls like sometimes not feeling like ramen, but there's still strong ramen elements in each of them with that fun American or Southern twist. Amazing bowls at Ramen by Ra. I can't wait to come back, and I'm so happy I got to visit this place. Book Ramen by Ra. It is such a wonderful experience. I'm gonna sign out, everyone, and if you're in New York, whether visiting or you live here, go check out Ramen by Ra. Couldn't recommend them more. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Frank from 5 AM Ramen signing out from the Big Apple.